certain types of actions are ridda, and they will invalidate your actions altogether. And even if you come back, all of those actions are invalid. For example, cursing the Prophet ﷺ. The moment you curse the Prophet ﷺ, any good deed you had is gone. And if you accept Islam again, you'll never get those good deeds back again. But certain actions, no. You apostate, you go, and when you come back, you'll have those good deeds still with you. So it's based on an usuli masala. There's a lot of furu' that comes out of it.
What if someone's doing i'tikaf and they need to leave to go work? Would that fall under the
They should have just said, I intended to do i'tikaf a number of days. Or just a period of time, half a day.
Could they do it if they had to go in between it, in between the last 10 days?
For example?
Go to work.
What do you mean?
They just had to go to it. Oh, furthermore, are you allowed to work while you're at i'tikaf?
No. I mean, technically, if you work in the masjid, remotely, you would be fine, but again, that defeats the purpose of i'tikaf. I'tikaf is to do ibadah. Well, otherwise you can just do this at home, right? It's the same thing. The purpose of it is to focus on ibadah. So it defeats the purpose of it. It doesn't invalidate it if you're working in the masjid. But if you have to leave the masjid for work, it invalidates the i'tikaf that you're doing. But if you condition it, even then it invalidates it. Because it's not an ibadah in its asal. But if you, for example, if you want to leave the i'tikaf because you conditioned, if there is a janazah, my father is sick, for example, and you say, if my father dies in his janazah, then I might have to leave the masjid. Then if you leave the masjid, do the janazah, come back, your i'tikaf is valid. No expiation. You can only condition it if it is ibadah. Make sense? Yeah. Just quick issues. Smoking, does it break your fasting?
Yes.
Yes, it breaks your fasting. Kidney dialysis. Does it break your fasting?
What is that?
Huh?
It filters your...
Is it because you're getting nutrition through your blood?
Yes, there's two different ways that kidney dialysis is done. One is done through the machine, one is done through, it's called the protein way. They just inject things and then that gives you the cleaning and the nutrition. Regardless of how it is, the scholars, that again there's a mas'ala nazila, it's a new issue. The scholars take the opinion, as the opinion of a lot of my teachers, is that it does break your fasting. It does break your fasting. Another issue, that just quick issue, is if somebody is traveling and then they stop traveling, what do? For example, you're fasting now and you arrive in a country where they stopped the fasting. They're not fasting. What do? Or for example, you left now and you're not fasting. You arrive in a country they're already fasting. Summary of it is you take the rulings of the country that you arrive in. Next issue is, if one person sees the moon and nobody else sees it. Huh?
Yes, it's valid.
It's valid. The point is, does that one person have to fast?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, not all the time. So if that one person is in a city like this and he sees the moon by himself and nobody else sees it, and everybody else is not fasting, he follows the city. But if he's in a desert by himself and he sees the moon and nobody else sees it, but he's in a desert, he can fast by himself. No.
What if you have no concept of time? Like, let's say you're in prison and you don't know when sunrise comes in or when Fajr comes in.
Yuqaddar. You do your taqdeer. You just estimate it. Yeah. Estimate, you ask people and you try your best. And Allah does not burden you more than you can take. Yeah.
So, but that person that saw the moon, he knows this from yaqinan, he knows. So
Now, but it's also the tafriq of the jama'ah. So for example, if half of the people see the moon in the country, and the other half they don't, are half of the people going to fast and the half will not? Or are we just going to follow the announcement that is officially made?
So you can leave wajibat for Adam Tafiq?
No. This is a different issue. This is ru'yat al-hilal. It's not the wajib. This is the actual issue of looking at the moon and seeing it. And the dukhul of the shahr. So the shahr is, how do you determine it's entered? Yes, you need one person is enough. صح? And that will suffice. But who is responsible? Who knows how to do it? Maybe half of those who try to see the moon were seeing it in the morning. So you just go with the country, the announcement in the country. That's the best way, inshallah.
Is there a difference of opinion on this?
There is a difference of opinion, yeah. But to be on the safe side, it's always better to listen to the official announcements. There's countries where there's Pakistan, every year their Eid is always different. Every year they're different. Every year a group is fasting, another group is not fasting. Every year. I don't remember one year. They didn't do it differently. So Allah understand. Allah.
For itikaf, do you need to put a certain amount of days on it, or can I just go to the masajid after 3 days, say I'm go?
As long as you intend in the beginning how many days you want to spend, khalas. But there's no minimum limit. The minimum, as we mentioned, is 1.
Do you need to intend a certain amount of days,
Yes,
or can I just go do 3 days and then say I'm done?
So you have to intend a minimum. There's no minimum, maximum. So if you intend 3 days, you can't do any less than 3. If you do, you've invalidated it, and you have to do the kafara.
What about if you didn't intend
If you intend
you
3,
intended at least 1,
yeah.
but
And then if you go do more, no problem. So if you intend 3, and then you're there and you get the energy and you get the iman, and you say, I can do more, I can do all 10, alhamdulillah. But just condition what you can.
so you have to at least intend.
Yeah, have the intention of what you can. Yeah, at least 1.
What's the حكم of اعتكاف other than 3 masajid?
You're allowed to. And there's a khilaf. There's some scholars say you're only allowed to do i'tikaf in the 3 masajid. Some scholars say, any masjid. Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala, his opinion is only the 3 masajid, based on the hadith. And there's evidences other scholars use. The Sahabas did it in other masajid, and the Prophet never condemned them. Matter inshallah is not a problem. As long as it's a masjid in the conditions we've mentioned, it's not a problem inshallah. Inshallah we'll stop here. I kept you for a long time. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. We have next week, it might be Ramadan, it might not be, so we'll announce it in the WhatsApp. If there's a lesson, there might not be a lesson. And if it's not Ramadan, what are we doing? Maybe we just do a muhadara or something like that, inshallah. But we'll look into it, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.